The US and Canada, two of the wealthiest countries on Earth. You'd think that means everyone has a place to live, right? Huh. Home prices? Astronomical. Rent? Brutal. Middle class dreams of homeownership? Somewhere between a fantasy novel and a cruel joke. But who has it worse? Is it America, with its affordability crisis and corporate landlords? Or Canada, where even dual-income households are struggling to buy a home? Let's break it down. Who's in deeper trouble? And more importantly, can we actually fix this? All right, let's talk numbers. How much do you actually need to own a home? Spoiler, a lot. United States, median home price, $412,000. Sound bad? Just wait. Want to live in California? That'll be $770,000 plus. No, that's not a typo. Looking for affordable options? Sure, places like West Virginia will sell you a home for under $200,000. But can you actually find a job there? Canada, national average home price, $670,000 Canadian dollars, or around $495,000 US dollars. Vancouver or Toronto, $1.2 million. That's $1.2 million for an average home. And by home, we mean a shoebox with plumbing. Even small towns aren't cheap anymore. You thought you'd escape to the countryside? Think again. Fun fact, since 2000, home prices in Canada have jumped 278%. Yes, you read that right. In the US, they've only increased 168%. Still bad, just slightly less dystopian. Why the insanity? Canada, low housing supply, foreign investors, and policies that keep the market hot. USA, more land, but also massive corporate landlords buying entire neighborhoods and renting them back to you at ridiculous prices.
Housing costs are out of control, and
we're facing a shortage of housing right now. And that's why prices of homes have become far too high.
So maybe buying a house is impossible. Fine, let's talk renting. United States, in major cities, $2,000 plus a month for a one-bedroom. Oh, you want a two-bedroom? Congrats. You now need a high-tech salary or a couple roommates. Corporate landlords? They own hundreds of thousands of units and charge extra fees for everything. Pet rent, trash fees, air fee. Now, Canada. Average rent for a one-bedroom? $2,500 in Toronto, $2,700 plus in Vancouver. In Calgary, once an affordable city, rents jumped 15% in a year. Affordable rentals exist, but only if you know a guy who knows a guy. Vacancy rates? Less than 2% in many Canadian and US cities. So if you find a place, fight for it. Literally. What's causing the crisis? Canada, not enough rental units built since the 1990s. US, corporate landlords buying up homes and jacking up rents. But what is the government doing about this? Oh, so glad you asked. In the US, some states introduced rent control, but landlords found loopholes. There are housing assistance programs, but they're underfunded and oversubscribed. The federal government talks about building more homes, but have you seen the cost of construction lately? In Canada, the government has poured billions into affordable housing projects. Sounds great, right? Except there's still not enough homes. Foreign buyer bans? But come on, do you really think that is a real solution? Foreign buyer bans often sound like a decisive solution, but in reality, they tend to be more of a political move than an effective fix for housing affordability. Wealthy investors can exploit loopholes using local family members, corporate entities, or partnerships to bypass restrictions. And let's not forget immigration policies that bring in record numbers of people, while there are insufficient housing supply to match resulting demands.
Talking about shelter, how can a family grow and prosper if they don't have a home that they can afford in a decent neighborhood? It's foundational for family growth.
Is the rental market expected to ease?
There's probably going to still be very intense demand.
All right, so is there a way out of this mess? Or are we all doomed to live in our parents' basements forever? Good news, there's hope. Bad news, it's going to take more than wishful thinking. The big issue? We don't have enough homes. And the ones we do have, good luck affording them. Turns out, when cities make it impossible to build, shocker, nothing gets built. We need to cut the red tape, speed up permits, and stop treating new housing like an invasive species. Also, can we talk about innovation? 3D, printed houses, modular homes, backyard units. Hello, future. Other countries are doing this already, and guess what? It works. Some people think foreign buyer bans will solve everything. Here's the thing. Investors aren't dumb. They find loopholes faster than you can say offshore trust. Instead of playing whack-a-mole with buyers, let's go after the real issues. Make empty homes flipping expensive. If you're hoarding housing like a dragon hoards gold, you should pay for it. Stronger rent protections, but in a way that doesn't make landlords yeet their units off the market. Incentivize affordable housing instead of letting developers build another luxury condo. Crazy thought. What if homes were for living, not just for profit? I know, radical. For decades, housing has been treated like a game for the rich, while regular people are stuck playing musical chairs. Except instead of chairs, it's apartments, and instead of music, it's the sound of your rent doubling. Other countries have actually fixed this through co-op housing, public land development, and policies that encourage, homes for humans. Maybe it's time we learn from them?
There are so many American families that don't have enough income to afford rental housing, much less transition to home ownership. Half of the renters in this country are what we call cost burdened. They are paying more than 30% of their income for housing.
Tens of thousands of Canadians could default, Moshe, on their mortgages. And are we looking at that kind of nightmare scenario?
But hey, let's not ignore the other half of the equation. You need a job to afford all this, right? So where are the jobs in this housing chaos? Spoiler, they're not keeping up. Solution? Wages need to rise. No more stagnation, whether it's higher minimum wage or incentives for workers outside the big city tech bubble. People should be able to afford a decent home no matter their profession. Immigration policies need to align with housing. We can bring in skilled workers, but we need to make sure there's enough housing for them too. Better planning and affordable housing solutions will help integrate newcomers into communities without the added stress of sky-high rent. Remote work needs to be normalized. You shouldn't have to live in an overpriced city just to work a desk job. Supporting trades and skilled labor with better pay and benefits would also go a long way in reducing the income-to-housing gap. If we don't fix the job market alongside the housing crisis, we're just shifting the problem around. So, who has it worse? The US or Canada? Home prices? Canada takes the L because apparently a basic starter home now costs the same as a small island. Corporate landlords? The US is the undisputed champ of that nightmare because nothing says American dream like getting outbid by a hedge fund for a one-bedroom shack. Government action? Both are trying, sort of. Bottom line, it can get better. Other places have solved it, and we can too. The real winners will be the people who demand better policies, push for smarter housing solutions, fair wages and more accessible jobs, and refuse to accept this crisis as normal.